around the world. You're doing great things around the world. Yeah, you're doing great things around the world. You're doing great things around the world. Great things, yeah.
Welcome to another wonderful episode of Diaspora Link, exclusively on Ghana Web TV. I'm your host, Diallo Sumbri. I'm very excited about my guest today, as I am about all my guests, but I'm also very appreciative because I was able to catch her while she was in Accra just for a short time, passing through, running, doing a lot of things, but she agreed to come share her story with us on the set today. So, without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to Nadu Placca. Now let's dive into the interview and learn a little bit more. Welcome to Diaspora Link with our guest Nadu Placca. As we do every episode, before we get into our interview, let's find out a little bit more about our guests with choices. Nadu, this is what we call choices. It's really simple. I'm going to give you two choices, and then you choose one and tell us why. Okay?
Okay.
Pretty simple, right?
Supposedly.
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Lagos versus Accra.
Ooh. Oh! Very different. Accra.
Accra. Why Accra?
Yeah. I guess maybe why not Lagos? Lagos is too much.
Okay.
So you were talking about like, before we've had conversation, Accra lifestyle. Lagos is too much.
I got you. Okay. Just there's no right or wrong
So
here. It's just your
pace.
It's your choices. Okay. So Accra.
Yes.
Okay. Next, London versus Accra.
Oh, Accra.
Oh, well, you are
London is
consistent.
cold and people are miserable. Too many bronies. No, we'll stay here.
We stay here in Africa, in your hometown.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Jollof versus Wache.
Oh, Jollof.
Jollof all day.
I'm not a big Wache fan.
Okay.
So I'm not that I don't like Wache, but I'm not a big Wache fan, and I think Jollof is always a safe bet for me.
Okay. How about this? South African nights versus Accra nights.
South African nights.
Oh,
like,
no question.
No question. No question. That will be, South Africa will have their own year of return because, you know, after Ghana, it has to be somewhere.
It has to move around.
And I do feel like all eyes are on South Africa now. But from growing up there, from being younger, it's always been a vibe. Like the music, it just touches your soul in a very different way.
The vibe
Very
is real.
different.
The vibe is real. Okay, how about this? Hip hop versus Afrobeats.
Ooh, Afrobeats.
Afrobeats over hip hop.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. No, it's fine.
if we're talking old school hip hop, like it's funny.
Whatever you want it to be.
Then
hip hop versus Afrobeats.
Afrobeats.
Okay.
Afrobeats for me. It's funny because we were out one night at Front Back, and Afrobeats came on. Everyone was dancing and hip hop, and they had the new stuff, and it was just like, oh, what is this?
New hip hop.
Yeah.
And the crowd didn't really. It was like.
Yeah.
You needed some diamonds on your wrist to dance to the music.
Yeah. No, Afrobeats.
Okay. Fufu versus Banku.
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 I don't actually like fufu. This is the thing. Kenke not
They
so
might not
much.
let you back into the country. You realize that?
I like Banku. Banku's good. No, Banku, it just has a different taste. For me, I never really enjoyed fufu. But
Is it the cassava plantain versus the maize? Is it like the base? Is it the fact that it's maize? You like that better?
Yeah, it tastes a bit better for me.
It tastes a bit better for you. All right, one more, and I know you're gonna hate me for this one. You're gonna hate me for this one, but I gotta try. Afro-punk versus Afrochella.
Oh, Afrochella.
Oh, that was easy. I thought it was gonna be different.
Chella, it's a different vibe.
Okay.
All right, to be fair, it's difficult, and that's not fair to do that.
No, it's
now,
not fair.
maybe I'm backtracking.
Don't backtrack.
They both have different assets that they bring to the experience.
I know. So the choices is if you had to choose one, and you chose Afrochella. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong. Thank you for playing this game with us. As you always know, why do we play choices? Every day we wake up, we all make different choices in life. Our choices should not divide us further. Our choices should only serve to help us become more clear about who we are and bring us closer together. So remember, just because you may think differently or choose differently from someone else, it doesn't mean that you have to be opposite or opposed to them. You guys just have different choices, right? Just different choices. Okay, now we're going to find out a little bit more about Nadu with top 5. Nadu, this is our top 5. Are you ready?
I am ready.
See, these games are not too bad, right?
Ready.
You're doing great. All right, top 5. I'm going to give you 5 categories, and you just choose your top in each category. All right, number 1, your favorite book. If it's not your favorite book ever, one book that you would recommend that everybody read. What is that book?
The Celestine Prophecy.
The Celestine Prophecy by...
Ooh, James read something.
James read something. Okay.
It was James something, yeah.
Okay, and why this book?
Changed my life.
Okay.
It was ironic actually. So one of my ex-business partners who completely fell out, I'd known her for 20 years, she gave me that book. And when I read that book, it just speaks about intuition. That feeling that we get in our stomach if you've had an argument with your partner and you feel away because you know maybe they're hurt. You know if you took a left turn but something told you maybe it was right. It's being able to listen to your intuition, as small as it may be. Being able to read people's energies and feel like what do people want to get from spaces and how to navigate. And the way it's told is a story of searching for scriptures, that each of these scriptures tell you a bit more about how to kind of communicate and learn more.
It sounds like a really interesting book.
Priceless.
Excellent.
Very, very. I've bought.
That was easy for you. You were
I bought
quick.
because I buy them for people. I'll probably buy you a copy now.
Okay,
and
thank you.
send to you because it's done so much for me. I always want to pass that on.
I appreciate that. Next one. Top musical artists across every genre of all time. You get to pick one.
That's horrible.
I know.
Every music genre of all time.
Across the board. If you just had to pick one name, it might change next week or whenever, but for Diaspora Link, we want one.
Lauryn Hill.
Lauryn Hill. That's what's up. You gave Lauren props. I love Lauren. I love Lauren. I absolutely love Lauren. Nice.
Yeah.
Why Lauryn Hill?
I met her here when she did.
Okay. I was here at that show at BBNC.
She's Lauren. Like, it was either going to be a Lauren, Erica, you know what I mean? Like, that's where we are.
Right.
So she's just the embodiment of just
who and
pure,
where we are.
yeah, black, just love Lauren.
No problem. Yeah. That's my homie. I still listen to Zion. Like,
yes.
Whenever it comes on, I still can't listen to it once. I still have to rewind it and listen to it 3 or 4 times. Timeless. The miseducation of Lauryn Hill, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who have no idea who Lauryn Hill is or what we're talking about, get the album. You'll love it. All right. Favorite food. It can be a dish or a kind of food.
Okay, well, seeing as we are here, contemporary.
Ooh, that's your favorite.
My favorite.
Listen.
And garden next stew, but contemporary for me with fish.
Listen. This is what I'm going to do for you. If I would have known that before now, I have the absolute best contemporary for you. In my village, a small place called Yame Bechere near Kafordria, we absolutely make the best contemporary, period. It's not palava sauce. There's no egusi mixed in. It's contemporary. They go pick it.
I know there's some in my family's garden.
We go pick it and cook it. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm hungry already. All
right, okay.
Contemporary.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Okay, but with rice or boiled yam?
Actually with a motor. Yeah, that for me is very different. My aunt's like, "What are you doing?" And I have boiled plantain as well, but they're like, "What?" And I'm just let me have it the way I like it.
Yeah, you know that's so interesting about Ghana. You try to mix two foods, people are like, no. We don't serve it like that. We don't take it that way. You can't have it. All right. Favorite place to vacation in the world. It could be a place that you've already been or a place that you want to go.
Zanzibar.
Zanzibar, that's a place you've been.
Yeah.
And hands down.
The most amazing experience of my life. I probably lost about 2 stone out there as well, because every day we're just walking on beaches, drinking coconut water in the sea, and the people, amazing.
Excellent. Last one, your favorite sport.
To play, to watch.
Favorite sport, whether it could be a combination of playing and watching. It could be just, if you had to pick one sport, what would that sport be?
Netball to play.
You said
Netball. Do you know what netball is?
no.
Okay, it's a British thing.
What is netball?
It's like basketball, but you can't travel with the ball. And it's predominantly for women to play.
You can't travel with the
No,
ball?
you can't travel with the ball.
What do you mean? You can only pass it?
When we finish rolling, I'll have to show you.
Okay,
some
I'm
of
gonna
the
look up. No,
moves,
I'll look
'cause
up
you
netball.
can't- you can't
netball. I've
move.
never even heard of it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So netball to play.
Netball to play. I don't
To
know.
watch.
Is gymnastics considered a sport?
That's considered a sport.
I love watching gymnastics and synchronized swimming. I just think it's incredible.
Gymnastics.
Like, yeah.
Okay, great.
I mean, I watch football quite often, but I'm not like, fanatic.
You're not like
No.
crazy like
No,
some
no,
people. Okay.
No, yeah.
Thank you for participating. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Nadu Placca's top 5. Remember, as we continue to build this bridge in the diaspora and we begin meeting people from different places, whether we meet in Accra, whether we meet in London or the US, let's find out more about each other. And asking someone's top 5 is a perfect way. It's a great icebreaker to get to know somebody, to get to know kind of what moves them, what are some of their favorite things. That's going to help you build a relationship. Because the only way we can continue to build the bridge between the continent and the diaspora is to find out more about each other. Now, let's dive into this interview and find out a little bit more about exactly who Nadu Placca is. We are back with another wonderful episode of Diaspora Link, and I am here with my guest who you've gotten to meet a little bit, Miss Nadu Placca. Nadu, how are you?
I'm good, Yellow. You?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm glad that I was able to track you down and catch you in between this visit while you're here in Ghana before you fly off to your next destination. So thank you for your time.
Anytime for you.
Oh, really?
Of course.
Y'all hear that? Anytime for me. So y'all know Diaspora Link is real because she just said anytime for me. All right, here we go. Nadu, so you are from Ghana, right? Even though I thought you were from somewhere else.
Yes.
You are
indeed.
from Ghana.
I am. I am half Ghanaian, half British.
Okay, half Ghanaian, half British. So your
Father,
father,
Ghanaian.
Ghanaian.
My mother, British.
Your mother's British.
Yes.
Okay. What part of Ghana is your dad from?
So we're talking pre-colonization, post.
Give us a history lesson.
Do you know what? It's been very interesting because on this trip and every trip I come, I always try to learn a little bit more about my history.
Okay.
So my grandfather was the first assistant to President Nkrumah.
Wow.
Benjamin Placca.
Okay.
And as I've been coming back, I've been meeting with my grandma and learning more stories.
Okay.
So she is from the line of Savages,
Okay.
Savage family name, whose family home is in Cape Coast. But at the moment, they live in Latibiokoshi. So yes, my father was born in Accra, but as a diplomat's son, he traveled the world. They were in Russia. They were posted all over.
Okay.
So I've been able to track my lineage and find out exactly who I am.
Exactly who you are and where you're from. So have you been able to visit your family's hometown and your family house here in Ghana?
Yep. So I visited Latibiokoshi this week. We have some renovations to do, of course.
Right.
But I think the next trip I want to go to the Savage House in Cape Coast and do a bit more, learn more. All the stories I hear we come from the Lawson family. So we were Ak Placca Lawson.
Okay.
But Ak Placca, back then they said it meant fat Lawsons. So my great-great-great-grandfather was like, forget this. We are not fat Lawsons. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to start my own village. And he dropped the Ak Lawson, and so we became Placca.
Oh, okay.
So very small. We're Ewe, so Togolese mixed as well.
Yo, how does that feel? Like, how does that feel as you know your dad is Ghanaian, you're a Ghanaian, but you're tracing your family history and you're finding out more things. How does that feel?
It's really exciting. I've started making notes, like stories from my elders, because the stories my grandma's been telling me, you put it in context to like this day age, like my generation, you're just like, this is what you went through? Or, your grandfather was pissed off with the rest of the family, so he was just like, forget you guys, I'm out. I'm going to start my own village. Like, it's really interesting and it's fun to learn. I think it's really important.
Right.
Really important.
Were you born in Ghana or were you born in...
I was born in London.
You were born in London?
Yeah.
Okay. So how often have you been traveling back and forth? Is it like every year? Was it, you schooled in London and didn't come back to you as a teen or adult? Tell us a little bit about your story.
So I schooled in London up until the age of 13.
Okay.
And then I went to school in Lesotho, which is landlocked by South Africa.
Okay.
I was there for a year, then went back to London, and I'd only been to Ghana when I was 4 years old, and I came for my grandfather's funeral. So that was my only real interaction. My dad, having been posted all over the world with his father before, he decided to settle in the UK. And he, I guess, lost touch with some of his, Ghanaian roots.
Okay.
And as the eldest son, he still had responsibilities, but obviously a lot harder to implement when you're not here. So I had been working across the continent, more so in Nigeria. And my family were like, "You're so close. Why are you not going back home?" I'm like, "Where the money reside, I am following the money right now. So if I have an opportunity to go to Ghana, then I 100% will." And I put it out to the universe. And within, I think, 3 to 6 months, I got a phone call that invited me to come to Ghana to work with Fuse ODG and work on Tina Festival.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that was the start. And since then, I think probably been back 2 to 3 times a year.
Nice.
Yeah.
So from the time that you were 4, you hadn't been back to Ghana until...
It was 30 years at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's bad.
But you, well, it is what it is.
I think it's bad.
Okay. but Ghana was always in your heart.
Always.
It was always something calling you back.
Yeah.
You mentioned traveling the continent, right? You mentioned schooling in Lesotho, and you were in Nigeria doing business. So that means that you're familiar with the continent.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
And you've traveled to different African countries, right? Yeah. What are some of the African countries you've traveled to?
Senegal, so my father lived there for a while. Kenya, Zanzibar, Lesotho, South Africa, Swaziland, Namibia.
Wow. You've been around.
And not enough. I want to try and go to at least all 54. There's so many to do.
Right.
Yeah, it's just interesting. And it's funny because when I read your book, I opened the first chapter, and as soon as it opened up, I was like, "Ooh, this is hard hitting. This is exactly what it is." Depending how the country's been colonized, you're literally going to be setting the stepping stones of how you need to navigate.
Yes.
And I tell my team when we come over, the way we work is we have to learn from each culture, and each culture is different. From greetings, from handling money, from bartering. It's all part of it, but it's really interesting to learn how to navigate, and I love it all.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Africa in 60. Our guest has no idea what we're about to do, so I'm going to tell her. Nadu, this is something that we call Africa in 60, and we'd like to see how many African countries our guest can name in 60 seconds.
Oh, okay.
See, that's not deep, right?
No, that's hard.
Let's see how you deal with the pressure, because I know when the pressure comes, it's a little bit differently. So we have our clock set up. We have 60 seconds, and we will go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Mauritania, Egypt, Libya, Ethiopia, Sudan, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Senegal, Gabon, Cameroon, DRC, or let's go on this side, Somalia, Kenya, Zanzibar, Tanzania, Swaziland, Botswana. Oh, let me see, where am I down here? Did I say Namibia? I'm not sure. South Africa, Lesotho, Madagascar. Where am I in the middle? I've missed some in the middle. I don't know. What's the time?
We got more time. Keep going.
Morocco. Oh, who are these northern fake countries?
Did you call them fake countries?
I did. I already said Nigeria. That's all I can think of.
Where are the pyramids?
I said Egypt.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I said Egypt.
I'm sorry. Okay, time. No, you did good. You got about 28.
Wow.
You got about 28.
That's
you got about 28.
Okay.
You got to see.
Is that like, where's the ranking?
No, I can't tell you that.
Okay.
We're gonna put up a leaderboard so everybody can see kind of where they are. But and we do Africa in 60, as you all know, because we want people to know that Africa is a continent. It's a vast, large place, 54 countries, and in each country there are various cultures, there are languages, there are so many different customs. So as we begin to bridge the diaspora, we want people to know that no one speaks African. You just don't go all the way out there to Africa. There's a country in Africa, and there's a city in that country. So keep that in mind. That's Africa in 60. Thank you, Nadu. You're such a good sport.
That was fun.
I was trying. Was that fun?
good, it was
Okay.
good.
I was trying to get you a little bit nervous by telling you, hey, we're going to do something, and I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Oh, that was the one you're not going to tell me?
That's the one. That's the only one
a
I'm not
breeze
going to
now.
tell you. That's the breeze, right? Don't have to worry. Okay, so you travel back and forth. You came back here after 30 years, right? But since you've come, you said 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So that means that you've seen other people who don't have Ghanaian roots come back and forth to Ghana. For you, what is it about Ghana that pulls people? What I mean, maybe for you because of your family, but you know, your business has brought you here and other things. What is it? What are some of the things about Ghana that you love?
I think, going back to your point of not saying Africa, but from an African perspective, stepping back on the continent always feels like I'm recharging in some way, shape or form. I think it's an opportunity to explore, learn, and really tap into new culture. So for Ghana, I think for other people who maybe this is their first time coming, it's definitely been led by, I think, stepping away from that traditional, oh, Africa, we live in huts and there's nothing here.
Hut life.
Yeah, that life, hut life. You know, we all came from there. But being able to really explore new adventures, I think the Year of Return was something that put Ghana in a very different position that it has been before. Like, eyes are on Ghana for different reasons now. People are understanding the potential, that it's not what we've seen on TV being brought up our whole lives. There's actually, you know, things that have been going on here for years. So I think it's, being able to explore. For me, it's home. I always think as Ghana as home, second to, actually no, it's one of my homes, I would like to say. And just being able to be around my people. Like, it's funny, sometimes I go out here and I'm like, oh, a white person. And like, it's a subconscious thing, but it's slightly triggering.
Right.
I'm also aware I'm a brony, so I'm not naive to that, but it's also being around your people all the time. It just, a different kind of energy. And the work I do abroad, I always try to ensure that I'm working with black people, be it our production company, be it our suppliers, be it the team that we work with. So being around your people is just a different energy. A
totally different energy. You get that vibe, right? You know, in my book, I call Ghana the enjoyment capital of the world.
Enjoyment.
Enjoyment, right? A lot of enjoyment here. And, you know, when people either come, you know, through our birthright journeys or when they come with us to visit, and I always tell people, let me know when you're ready for an Accra night. And they say, well, what is an Accra night? I said, if you're not having wache at 6 a.m. in the same clothes you went out in, you haven't gone home to sleep, then that's an official Accra night. Is you start and you have to at least go to 3 or 4 places because there's that many places to go and that many things to do. So you schooled when you were young in Lesotho. Now, did you school again for your university, your college in the UK?
London.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did you study?
I studied event management and music and media management. Okay. And I'm now doing my master's in live event design.
Nice. And where are you doing that at?
So it's in the middle of the UK, in the countryside.
Just in the middle, so somewhere.
Like, I'm literally the only black person there. Yes, it is.
All right, so now let's talk a little bit about some of what you've done in your career that has led you to where you are now. And I'll just let you walk us through it.
Wow, it's been many, many years. So 14 years that I've been in the events industry. Okay. Started off the back of my degree. I was very fortunate to be headhunted from university. Okay. So straight out of university, I had a job, I was working. But what I found was some of my friends and colleagues from uni, they couldn't get a job without the experience, but then couldn't get experience without the job. So you're stuck in this cycle, this loop of, you know, not being able to move forward.
You know, that reminds me of Mos Def's line. Why do I need ID to get ID? I'm sorry, go ahead.
But it's the same theory and principle.
Right, it's the same theory and principle.
And so I was like, how do I help more people to be able to kind of make this transition? So we started an educational course that I started to design. And with that course, we developed it into a 12-week course where we teach everything that I learned over my 3 years on my degree to all of my experience. And decided to say, we're going to give 15 students an opportunity to learn everything. We'll physically give them some money to produce their own event, and they'll produce it. So you get the
Nice.
vocational and the practical experience of being in the event industry, because it's not always standing there with a clipboard and a radio and everyone thinks, you know, you're in charge of things. And
That's wonderful.
yeah.
That's excellent.
So
And you are still doing that course now? You still offer it?
Still doing.
You still offer cash for people who
Yep.
complete the course to do their events?
Yep.
Wow. Wow. That's excellent.
Yeah, so we come to Ghana, South Africa. We've got an exchange program where we have an opportunity for students to learn about events and travel the world to deliver them. Because I don't think anyone should be restricted to just working in one country. I think everyone should learn. Like, I'm trying to get some of my white counterparts at university to come and work in Accra, because you want to know how we feel when we're on site as the only black people. Let's see how you'll feel in the middle of Africa, to be specific, Ghana, and see how you get on.
Right.
Because culturally, it will, you know, wake you up.
Wow. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. So from the time that you started your company, that's what you've been doing for 14 years?
So for 14 years, I've probably had about 3 or 4 companies.
Okay.
Companies that I didn't necessarily put the energy into, companies that had crazy business partners. You know, we go through the ebbs and flows of running a business. But in the last 2 years, we had a rebrand with the Zoo XYZ, which is my current company.
Okay.
And with them, we have been doing stuff with some amazing clients, from Afropunk in New York, South Africa, to Pan-Afro Link, NBA player Luol Deng, working with him across London and Ghana, SoundCloud, Amazon Music, a lot of UK artists, the festivals here, Tina Fest, Afrochella. So yeah, we're spread out well.
Spread out very well. Nice. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Nadu's company, the Zoo XYZ, or as they say in London, XYZ. I'm learning so much. And we'll get back and talk more about this. We'll be right back. Peace, global African family. My name is Diallo Sumbri. I'm a co-architect of Ghana's Year of Return 2019, and I'm the president and CEO of the Adinkra Group. For the past 5 years, we've been bringing loads and loads of people to Ghana. Many of them, their first time on the African continent, their first time putting their toes in the African sand, in the African soil. And so many people have had their life changed. Our birthright journeys are curated cultural immersion journeys centered around reclaiming cultural identity, exploring your ancestral heritage, and celebrating African resilience. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our Birthright Journey Partner Program. It's really simple, and you really don't have to do much other than email us at info@theadinkragroup.com. Now, what makes a great Birthright Journey partner for our program? Are you a leader? Are you an influencer? Are you that person that your family calls on to organize, or do you automatically know that that's your job? Are you somebody of status in your community? Are you a community leader? Are you that person in your church or in the school? If you are the ideal Birthright Journey partner. Do you believe that every person of African descent should have an opportunity to touch ground on the continent of Africa? If you are, then you are the ideal Birthright Journey partner. It's simple. We're going to show you how you can travel to Ghana for free. Not only can you travel to Ghana for free, but you can actually get paid to travel to Ghana. Really simple. Just contact us at info@theadinkragroup.com and set up a discovery call. You'll get to travel with your family and friends, you'll get to travel with your community, and the best part of it is that it'll be free for you. Or you'll even earn money doing it. So again, info@theadinkragroup.com. We look forward to seeing you in Ghana. We look forward to dancing with you in Ghana. We look forward to eating fufu, eating jollof, eating wache. Make sure you contact us now, and we would love for you to become a Birthright Journey partner. Madasi. And we are back with Nadu Placca from the Brooklyn Zoo. Anyway, from the Zoo XYZ. You know, I had to throw my, I had to do my best ODB impersonation. All right, so Nadu, your company that you've rebranded and that's spread out in African countries, in the UK, the Zoo XYZ. Talk to us about the name. Like, it's such a different name. I'm really interested to know how you came up with that.
So it's funny because so the company I had before was NP Presents.
Okay.
So Nadu Placca Presents. The one before that was Madame Blah, because that's all I feel like I ever do in the industry, blah, 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 blah. Just, trying to make deals that work here and there.
Right.
And I was ready after having a negative experience with a business partner. I wanted to, transition the business. And then from NP Presents, I was like, I didn't want something that you could maybe know what it was. I wanted it to be very spontaneous and be like, well, what is that?
Right.
If someone says, the zoo was that. So we initially came up with the zoo. Don't ask me why. It was actually in Ghana when my colleague and I came up with it, and we were on the back end of a Ghana night, an Accra night, which I think explains even more. And we were just like throwing words and like the zoo, like, oh my gosh, that works. And so, did some research online. Obviously, thezoo.com was gone, so and .co.uk, and I was just like, oh. And then it was like, oh, .xyz. So I was like, oh, this is a new domain that actually hasn't been established yet. And often when we're talking in events, we're saying, okay, XYZ, this is how we're going to structure
Exactly.
things. And so it worked. And thus the Zoo XYZ was born.
That's interesting because, I had my own theory.
All right, let me add on to the theory a bit more.
I had my own theory about the zoo and where it came from, but go ahead.
It's also the multitude of like personalities and people that we deal with in any given like project. There's always things that are moving. You have to learn how to, nurture people's egos, how to get them to do business the way you do. So it's having an understanding of there are so many different things taking place under one roof.
Right.
The zoo. And I always loved the word menagerie, but I didn't know how to use it. So the zoo just came forward. So I want to know your theory.
That was it.
Oh.
Well, my theory was I've been on the front side of events and the back side. And most people, when they see the event in its finished form, a well-done event, they just see they see what you want them to see, right? Especially for your customers, you don't want them to see what goes into it. But I know on the back end of that, it's a zoo.
Yeah, basically.
Sometimes it's a zoo, just exactly what you said, the number of personalities, the number of people, and it's like managing a zoo. You got this section over here, you got this, everybody eats something different at a different time, or and putting all of that together to make it an attraction for somebody to come pay an entry fee and get the whole experience. So for me, I was just like, yo, that was mad creative. Like, it's really a zoo. People who are not into events really do not know. Yeah. They really have no idea. I'm sure we both all have a lot of stories about things that have happened at the 9th hour before an artist goes on stage or before the gates open. So
many stories, so many.
So let me ask you this, because this is Diaspora Link, and a lot of what we want this show to do is to share personal stories about why people have chosen to do business in Africa, right? Because it's a choice a lot of times. You don't have to look for business in Africa. You can turn business offers in Africa down. And you could focus on the UK, you could focus on other parts of Europe and the US. So why is doing business in Africa important to you?
It wasn't a choice, it was my calling. I think I've always been very much about people. Okay. Anyone will tell you, working with me, I'm always for the people, the team, like how are we establishing that kind of network and growing the community. And schooling on the continent, having my roots back here, like it made sense for me to come back and also to spread the knowledge far and wide that I have. I don't feel like my knowledge and information should be left with me. Part of that legacy is being able to impart more knowledge onto other people and allow that knowledge for myself. It helps me to grow in territories, to understand how events are done in Ghana, how they're done in Nigeria, how they're done in South Africa, what works, what doesn't. Can any of my knowledge or experience contribute to that? So yeah, it was destined.
It was destiny. But you had to hear that calling, right? Because they say, many are called, but few are chosen, right? So a lot of people are called, but not everybody answers that call. So how have you found doing business in Africa for events different from UK and the US? And I always say that it's okay for us to talk about challenges because we're not really focusing on the challenges, but there's somebody watching who wants to do business here, who's into events management and maybe wants to come here to do that. So what's some of the differences between the various countries in Africa you work with South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, other places in the UK or the US?
So many differences. I think I definitely have had to make sacrifices over the years in order to fulfill this. The differences across each country, again, I think reading the first chapter of your book will just give you an insight as to where. I'm not being paid to plug, I'm just saying.
But thank you.
Because you have to understand the people first. That's the first thing. Understand who you're working with, how they work. Being a woman working on the continent has its own layer.
I was about to say, I'm sure that's a whole nother...
Being a woman in Nigeria as a Ghanaian or British was another layer. Being from the diaspora coming back home, it has another layer. Like all of it does, because there's also hierarchy, there's also respect, there's things that culturally have been embedded for generations that you have to now step into and just grab the reins a bit more. So, for example, when we were working in Nigeria, the runners, so these are the people who literally, without them, you will not get stuff done.
At all.
They're picking up stuff, they're running it to places, they're making sure people are in the right place at the right times. At the end of the event, they all sat down with myself and my other colleague who's also British, and they were like, thank you. Thank you for just treating us like we're human beings. And my dad always taught me that it doesn't matter when you who you're working with.
Right.
If it's someone who's older than you, when they go home, they are the head of their household. They are the breadwinner. They are the person who is coming back. Just because they're working with you now as a runner at a smaller role, it doesn't take that away from them.
Right.
And so it's always paying back that respect and ensuring that people are spoken. I'm not dictating to you to do something. I'm not going to ask you to do something that I wouldn't do. So if I'm asking you to pick up rubbish, you will see that I've picked up rubbish, which also isn't a very African mentality. It's go and pick. Like there's no
small
question.
Boy, small girl, please pick all of this.
Yes, but for me, I was like, that's not how I work, and I can't change that. Now, it's difficult because I think you get to an element of capacity. For me, I was like, working in Nigeria, I could only do a month because the stress, the conversations, the level, the dealing, like all of this builds up from having a Western upbringing to then, integrating it.
Right.
You have to take time away. Africa, Ghana, it works at a very different pace. You have to adjust to that pace. This trip here, it took me a week to settle in because I have to do the Accra City tour. I have to go and party, to show face in different places. And then I have to also kind of come down and settle. So, yeah.
Right. And I tell people all the time, Accra is growing at a rapid pace. You can be away for 6 to 12 months, and when you come back, there are how many new clubs, how many new restaurants, how many new lounges, how many new roads or changes. So it's growing at a really rapid pace. What are some of the logistical challenges that you have here with events? Like, do you have problems getting materials in these countries? Do you have to always ship them from South Africa or Turkey or Dubai or something? Or
you've got it. So not everything is here. Not everything is here. And this
Right.
is something I'm really working on, like as basic as comms. So radios on event day. There isn't, well, we know of one that's here, but even so, stock is limited. Does it work with the radio frequencies? There's so much that has to go into it. Rigging, near impossible to get things. Pyrotechnic, all of these things do often have to be flown in from different countries on the continent to make sure, we have it here. But I think in time, this is something that just will be developed. I'm definitely seeing a change in the industry and the change in the way people are, having their experiences, because we've had positive experience and negative experience of international companies coming in, bringing international people to do all the work as if Ghanaians are not capable. We've been here. They have been here doing events before. It was on an album that brought everyone and put eyes on Africa. So I think it's just refining that and just trusting the process internally. And I will always be, I guess, an ally for work to be done by Africans for Africans.
You know what? I've seen miracles. Right. And by miracles, I mean, during the year of return, we did a lot. And I remember us having an event at Cape Coast at the slave dungeon. And I remember showing up maybe 3 or 4 hours before the event, right? And we had a lot of people on the way. Like 250, 300 people I knew were on the way to Cape Coast. So I remember, let me go early. I remember showing up and nothing was set up. And I was losing it. Like, yo, what is... And then I was like, Diallo. Shouts out to my brother Ernest. I'm sure he may see this. And Ernest was like, I got you. The confidence that he said that with, okay. When I tell you in 3 to 4 hours,
Honestly.
you would think that it was set up from the morning. Like, it was done. And I was just like, okay, there are miracles.
It's just how it
I don't know
works.
how, like,
I understand.
I wish we could do that earlier.
Yeah.
Without, like...
But why? Because it gets done.
I know.
And that's the thing. That's the mentality. But it will get done.
It'll get done. But it's like the stress.
Yeah. High level. I had to learn the hard way as well. On site, 4 a.m. I'm like, I'm not going to the bed. So the things here, I've been calling them since 11 a.m. They told me they're coming. Why is it now gone past 11 p.m.? They're telling me they're coming 4 a.m. Yeah. We got to be back on site at 7 a.m. Go to sleep for an hour, come back. I was like, oh, okay. And that's when I started working and I see people say, oh, it's your first time doing an event here. Don't worry, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Don't stress. Like, you have to not overthink it because it works differently here.
It definitely works differently. It definitely works differently. So you mentioned a lot of big names. You mentioned Afropunk. You mentioned Afrochella. And so talk to us about Afropunk. You've done that in South Africa?
So Afropunk takes place in Bahia, New York, in Atlanta, Paris, London, and South Africa, so 6. So I was a live event consultant for them for a year, and now supporting them in terms of entering new territories, developing on the continent as well.
And Afropunk is a pretty large event. Like, each Afropunk event brings, what, thousands and thousands of people to a particular city or place, and people are flying in from all over the world, no matter where it is.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the economic impact of some of these festivals and events that you work with, and how African tourism departments can do better to support some of these events because of the economic impact that it brings.
The economic footprint from these events is massive. I think even from Year of Return you would have seen here, and like using Afropunk as a case study, I guess looking at South Africa, massive. So December's normally a time of year where everything closed down and shuts, so we're able to provide job, provide opportunities, provide, you know, more for the country. And I think governments can use these as beacons, you know, utilize this opportunity to be able to have new people, new money coming into a country, to be able to see actually how can we make this work for us to benefit us longer than this period of a month that, you know, maybe someone's in town. Like, where can we tap into tourism and what does that look like? So yeah, I think it's about having conversations with the right organizers that are supporting the economic growth, you know, internally as well. I don't want it to just be ever international companies coming in and doing and then, you know, bouncing back out. It means to be how are we working with companies on the ground? What corporate social responsibility are we doing? What are we giving back to ensure the longevity of business and the economy for, you know, wherever we're entering?
For the economy, for the local economy of wherever the event is.
Precisely.
So I take it, I would assume that you believe that large festivals of such that you've worked with can be a part of this idea of Africa beyond aid to an extent, right? So let's say you take a festival like Afropunk in a place like Accra. Could Accra handle a festival like Afropunk that size once a quarter?
Oof. Once a quarter, that's a lot. But to be fair, I think there's levels to this. Okay, so Is it an international festival that's coming in?
Right.
Who's the target audience? Who are they, what are they looking to generate from a perspective of, is it revenue? Is it just exposure? All of those things kind of have a hold on it. And it's funny because we do feasibility studies for organizations. So if you want to enter a territory, come and have a conversation with us. We work with the team on the ground to be like, this is what it will cost. This is what you'll need to do, who you need to speak with. These are the stats. This is what you should be looking if you want to work with a particular audience. To be able to get, I guess, the lay of the land of the best way to work when entering. Because it's easy to say, okay, once a quarter to do an event, but there are so many different layers to that to be able to actually identify, what type of event is best coming in, who's your audience, and how you can maneuver. So, yeah.
So for up-and-coming event planners, artist management firms, and other diasporans from the UK, from the Caribbean, from the US, who want to work in Africa.
Call me.
That's the fact.
Yeah, number one.
That's the quick
Number one.
answer. Call you. Number one, call you. What piece of advice would you give them? What advice do you have for somebody who wants to come and do that? Because I'm sure, like you, I talk to a lot of people who want to come here, and everybody has big dreams, which is good. And I try not to burst the bubble when I see somebody floating with all of this ideas and this romantic idea of what they're going to do when they come and how it's going to work and what will happen. Even knowing that this particular person hasn't spent time, and I try not to just be like, calm down.
Yeah.
None of that is going to happen because...
That's nice. When you get here, you'll see. I would say don't be naive. It's all of that. I think all of that naivety and also an air of ignorance can come with, we are this brand, we have this name, this is how we're going to enter. And I have seen firsthand examples of that. Cardi B being an example. We're going to bring this massive show, book 30,000 people, book out the stadium. Sorry, do Ghanaians listen to Cardi B like that? They don't. Just because you maybe have a certain audience in another country on the continent doesn't mean it can easily be replicated here or anywhere for that matter. So I'd say take time. You have to put the work in to really understand the market, understand your audience, and understand how everyone works. So yeah, naive and ignorance, leave that at the door.
Okay, now what piece of advice would you give Ghanaian suppliers, vendors, and potential workers or staff that people like you would want to hire here? What piece of advice do you have for them that will help them be better on-ground partners for events and festivals?
Transparency and continuity.
Okay.
So one of the things I've found is also, just communicating what you really want to happen. So your expectations. I always try to move as transparent as possible. If I'm going to tell you that I need barricades, for example, and I know there's only one supplier that does barricades, then tell me when I need to come to you, when I need to have a certain money ready by, so at least I can plan ahead. I think sometimes it's very flitty, people, say they can do something, but then can't. Oh, I'm on my way, but really you're at home, or you're in Tema and you're coming to meet me in East Legon. That's going to take some time. So it's just, being very open.
Really? So Tema and East Legon is not a 15-minute trip?
No, drive. No, it's not. And so it's just, I think it's, with those expectations and communicating, it's easier just to navigate the way of the land. And I understand, when we did the course in 2019, we were here, a lot of suppliers were like, we have issues in terms of we're asked to put our own money up, front in terms of being able to be paid. We don't get paid in time. And it's very difficult. Even working on some of the projects here, I come in, I'm about business.
Right.
This is the process and this is the structure. And if I can ensure that the money I'm bringing into the country will stick to that process, then everyone else works accordingly. And we've seen it. It works, it's flawless, it's easy. We have great relationships. So when we come back to these suppliers, they know, oh, we're working with them, don't worry, it's going to be done.
It'll be there.
But it's a two-way thing. You have to show that respect in the same way. So just be honest. Be transparent and let me know the expectations.
There we go. Nadu, I want to thank you so much for coming to share your time, because I got you. Listen.
I'm out.
Listen, all of y'all out there who've been trying to get Nadu, I was able to get her. That means that we're special at Diaspora Link. She took out time for us. So I want to thank you again for joining us on the show, for sharing a little bit about yourself, about your company, and just for giving some insight for all of our listeners so we can see what event management really looks like a little bit from the
I
inside.
look good today. Normally sweating, stress, everything.
But today is different.
Today's
We're
different.
okay. All right.
Thank
Nadu,
you.
again, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, and we want to thank our guest, Nadu Placca, for joining us and sharing just a little bit about herself and her journey. Only here on Diaspora Link, exclusively on Ghana Web TV.